How's it going today, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Curtis Zone. I am your amazing host, Dylan J. Curtis, and I ask that you remember to hit the like and subscribe button for more content from here on the Curtis Zone. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're doing an episode on what it would look like if DC heroes had Digicrests, more specifically, the Justice League. So, let's get started, alright? It's gonna be a long one, and everything here was difficult to put together, but I have come up with a great list, and so, let's get started. But before we do that, news, ladies and gentlemen. The first piece of news is from Paramount. They have announced that the upcoming TMNT The Last Ronin movie will be an R-rated film. So get ready for some adult content, language, a whole lot of other stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We might even get a little bit of gore, okay? I read The Last Ronin comic books, and I gotta say, I was impressed with them, and I hope that they do him justice in the movies. The second piece of news from the world of Disney, they have announced that a new Ghost Rider series is currently in development on Disney Plus, and it's set to have at least 4 Ghost Riders. Okay, I don't know who's gonna be playing what character, but we are excited nonetheless. So let's keep watching, ladies and gentlemen. The final piece of news is this: it has been announced that the upcoming live-action Street Fighter movie has had a long casting process. In fact, Andrew Koji and Noah Centineo are the only ones who have been casted. WWE superstar Roman Reigns has been casted in the film as Akuma, and Jason Momoa, who you may remember played Aquaman or in Fast and the Furious, he has been casted in the role of Blanca. No other characters have been announced yet, but it's looking like we're going to get a pretty big cast nonetheless. Now, we have asked ourselves here on the Curtis Zone, how would it look if DC heroes had Digicrests, if they were Digi-Destined? Quick little origin on the Digicrests. The Digicrests came out in the first season of Digimon. They determine who is Digi-Destined and what they represent, whether it be courage, power, knowledge, friendship, love, sincerity, hope. The Digicrests determine what your Digimon is, what their element is, and what their attacks are. So, we're going to talk about how it would look if the DC heroes, or more specifically the Justice League, had Digicrests. Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get started by talking about Superman.
Look to the past as we head for the future to reclaim the digital world.
Going in on it real strong, we're going to talk about Superman. Here's the thing. Superman is part of the House of El. So if Superman had a Digicrest, he would have the Crest of Hope. The reason being because the House of El is a symbol of hope, and for him, his symbol of hope is actually very strong. The strongest it's ever been. In my opinion, we would have to go back to the Kingdom Come storyline, where his symbol was black and red, because even in the darkest hours, hope springs eternal. And if Superman had a Digimon, his Digimon would be Patamon. Patamon, whose Digivolutions are Angemon, Mega Angemon, Seraphimon, or his Digi-Armor Digivolution, which is Pegasusmon, Flying Hope. So, yeah, there's that. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. If Batman had a Digicrest, he'd have the Crest of Friendship. For 2 reasons. Reason number 1, Batman has the largest family in the DC universe. It consists of at least 17 members. That includes a dog and a kid from the future. This is from what I understand, okay? Also, going back to the Tower of Babel storyline, when it was found out that Batman had a bunch of contingency plans to neutralize the Justice League, making him the most untrustworthy person in the DC universe. So, with that said, he'd have the Crest of Friendship. Lack of friendship, but at the same time having a lot of friendship, that equals the Crest of Friendship. And if he had a Digimon, it would be Gabumon. Gabumon, whose Digivolutions include Garurumon, Were-Garurumon, Metal Garurumon, Kendo Garurumon, Gallic Garurumon. So, yeah, there's that. I dare anybody to say otherwise. I'm not going to go into very, very high and when it comes to explanation for Wonder Woman. I'm just going to say that if she had a Digicrest, she'd have the Crest of Courage. Why? Because she was trained in Themyscira to be the most prolific and most strongest fighter in the DC Universe. Also, she's the only member of the Justice League who is not afraid of Batman. I'm going to say it again. She's the only member of the Justice League who is not afraid of Batman. Also, in the movie Justice League Doom, it is found out that Wonder Woman never backs down from a fight against an enemy when she was tricked into thinking that everyone around her was Cheetah. So, yes, she had the Crest of Courage. Which means that if she had a Digimon, she'd have Agumon. Agumon, whose Digivolutions include Greymon, War Greymon, Metal Greymon, Emperor Greymon, Geo Greymon, and Armor Digivolution Flamedramon. So, yeah, there's that. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. If the Flash had a Digicrest, and this one was difficult, if the Flash had a Digicrest, he'd have the Crest of Love. Here's the reason why. When the Flash was in the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline, he was known as a Paragon of Love. And a Paragon of Love is pretty strong. So, if the Flash had a Digicrest, he'd have the Crest of Love. This means that his Digimon would be Beomon. Beomon, whose Digivolutions include Bertramon, Gatoromon, and finally the Digi-Armor Digivolution Wholesomeon, the Wings of Love. So yeah, that's all I gotta say on that one. Now Martian Manhunter was hard to assign, but I was able to do it anyway. He would have the Crest of Knowledge. The reason being because ever since John Jones came to Earth, he's been obsessed with learning all there is to know about Earth, and so he would gain the Crest of Knowledge, and which is one of the reasons why he became a great detective here on Earth. Which means that if he had the Crest of Knowledge, he would have the Digimon Tentomon. Tentomon, whose Digivolutions include Kabuterimon, Mega Kabuterimon, Shining Kabuterimon, which is in the video games, and Digi-Armor Evolution, Digmon, the Drill of Knowledge, and finally, in Season 4, he'd be known as Metal Kabuterimon. I thought that was pretty cool. So, with that said, I strongly believe that if Martian Manhunter had a Digicrest, he'd have the Crest of Knowledge.
As we work towards one solution.
This next one was not hard to assign. Aquaman. He would have the Crest of Reliability. He's a reliable guardian of the seas and king of Atlantis, which covers the entire 7 seas. Which means that he has to protect the 7 seas no matter what. Which is why he would have the Crest of Reliability. With that said, if he had a Digimon, he would have Gomamon. Gomamon, who is an ocean-type Digimon, who transforms into Ikakumon, Zonomon, and the Armor Digivolution Samarimon, the reliable guardian of the seas. Imagine the two of them working together. And finally, we're going to talk about Green Lantern, more specifically John Stewart. The reason why John Stewart I'm talking about John Stewart instead of Hal Jordan, because John Stewart, he deserves the Crest of Light. Here's the reason why. He is the most talented of all the Green Lanterns. Not the most powerful, the most talented, which comes in handy in a fight. Also, John Stewart has more connection to the Green Lantern Corps through his Lantern Ring than any other person that has been a Green Lantern. I'm talking, he has more of a connection than Hal Jordan, who became Parallax at one point. So, if he had a Digimon, that Digimon would be Gatomon. Gatomon, who only has 2 Digivolutions, Angelwamon and Neferdimon. Imagine the two of them working together. That would be pretty awesome to see. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining me here on the Curtis Zone. If you get, however, this whole thing, it's all my opinion. So if you guys have an opinion of what you think the Justice League would have if they had Digicrests, put in the comment section down below, okay? I'll see you guys soon. And as always, the next episode is posted right down there. It's a revisit, but it's still an episode nonetheless. So be on the lookout for that. I will see you guys very, very soon with more episodes. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or requests, put in the comment section down below, because you know we love it when you do, alright? This episode here was a special request from somebody, so I can't wait to see everybody else's requests, alright? I'll see you guys soon. Love you. Peace.